It's really fun at school, and I like church. And I like going over to the playground and playing because I like those monkey bars really well because I can get on top.
I like just the fact of making new friends and coming here and listening to the services. The preachers and the speakers give out a really good message to all of us, and I think it could really change a lot than if we were to just stay at home and play video games or something rather than coming here and listening to about God.
The Girls and Guys Night Out, I guess, has been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Basically, the girls go in one building, and the guys go in another building, and just basically talk about all types of issues, basically around the whole sexual issue. And it's a time where they can just totally be open about anything because there's nobody else around, and everything stays in that building, and so it's just a neat experience for them it's a neat spiritual experience.
I've been coming to this camp when I was young because there was a lot of Christian-based activities and a lot of Christian people my age that I could relate to and build relationships with. Now we come because we have 4 young girls, and we want to give them a good Christian base again, and there's good kids programs here where they can learn about Jesus.
I keep coming back here because I love it. I had my call to ministry here. I grew up here coming as a child, as a teenager. I was Miss St. Louis camp meeting, runner-up one year when we had a parade. We've just totally enjoyed being a part of St. Louis. It was always Dad's vacation, and he brought all of us kids to St. Louis.
Well, we started out, when we first started coming here, we got involved in the operation of the camp. We run a lunch stand for over 20 years, and we hired some of the kids that come to the campgrounds. That was their means of being able to stay. They'd work in the lunch stand and get paid, and so over the course of many years we got to know a lot of kids, make a lot of friendships. Even some today, some of the kids that's grown up and have kids older than what they were when they worked for us, they still remember us, and they chat with us occasionally, and we see them.
One of the rules that we have for youth at the campground is that couples cannot be alone together in the cornfield or at night in the volleyball pit or anything like that. So one evening, security was coming around late at night and found a couple in the volleyball pit behind the tabernacle. And when everything was all done and said, it ended up being the parents of one of the youth that was there. And that was something that was played out quite a bit in the youth then.
I've been coming to St. Louis camp meetings since I was a very little girl. My mom and dad became Christians when I was about 4 years old, and we started coming here shortly after they became Christians. And we camped in a tent over by the children's area.
I love Jesus, and no, he's changed my life a lot since I used to not be a Christian. Well, I wasn't saved before, and about 2 or 3 years ago I got saved.
The mornings we come together and have a service, and we do worship, and every year I've been there, it's been the most incredible worship, and a lot of times it's led by students, which makes it so much cooler because it's real. It's not just people that you don't know who are trying to lead you into it. It's people who are accessible, and they share their struggles, and then we worship together, and that's really neat. And then we also have a speaker every day, and that's usually they have something so powerful to share with you, and something that will relate to where you're at, and it's very good.
I know, like when I used to come here when I was a teenager, I remember like one of the great closing activities that the youth always did was the mud games on the last day of the week, and that was always a fun time where you could get out there and get together with all the other youth and just have fun. That was one fun moment that I always remember, you know, throughout my entire life.
Camp meeting 1975, I graduated from high school that year. And I couldn't tell you who the evangelist was that year or what he spoke on, but I do know that God called me into Christian ministry that year at St. Louis camp meeting. I'd never prepared for college. I never wanted to go to college. And yet, by September of that year, I was at Warner Pacific College studying for youth ministry.
A lot of friends, a lot of good preaching down through the year, good singing. Enjoy camping with our friends and just being able to have a good time and relax. And
what we were is Pastor John Eckelbarger. We brought, I think it was 18 kids and 3 adults from Karagan to Kazakhstan. And I got here and I had 7 of the boys, 6 of the boys. Plus I also had Nathan Eckelbarger, I had my son, I had your 3 kids, and you ended up having to work over, and Linda ended up, she couldn't get the time off that she was supposed to because someone called in sick, and here I was with 6 kids that didn't really even speak English, and I had Nathan Eckelbarger, who was my savior because he could interpret at least some for us, and trying to find out some common interest in everything the kids from another country have with us, and how to keep them occupied, how to impress them, and how to show them, you know, part of our value system, because they were here on a cultural exchange program. And finally, the biggest thing where we were able to enthuse them, impress them, or get a smile on their faces, took everybody to Walmart and we bought squirt guns. And these kids became very militant at first with the squirt guns, but then after they found out how much fun it was, we really had a good time.
I'd say that it's a combination of a couple of different things that keep us coming back. Lots of times it's just seeing old friends and being able to connect with them, people from the churches that we've either pastored or churches that we've been a part of, and had a chance to meet people from those churches, and it's been really good to get to meet them, and this gives us an opportunity to see those people again. When I was a teenager, it was fun to come to see friends that you haven't seen all year long, but you see them at camp and then come back to camp meeting and get a chance to see them again. And then when I became a mom, it was important to come because my mom and dad were here, and the kids really enjoyed coming, and it was a chance for mom and dad to interact with their grandchildren and to show them off to other people, friends of ours that had, you know, over the years gotten married and have children of their own. And it's a terrific time of spiritual renewal. I think the conferences and the preaching is always top-notch. It's always very, very good. And lots of times you can get some really good conversations going because of those conferences or because of those services. And worship is always wonderful. It's always a great time. So it's a combination of all those things.
I like the playground because there's monkey bars there, and it's really fun because I can get on top of them.
But that's the youth gathering, and a lot of us still go to that, and I know a lot of adults that even make it into the youth gathering. It's pretty eventful.
And then every evening they have a different afterglow, so there's always some, and in the afternoon they have some type of activity, so there's always something going that you can go to, or and there's always people all around that you can sit down and just laugh with or play cards or whatever. So
when I was a youth here again, I can remember back there being a lot of activities in the old tabernacle, as far as ping pong tournaments, things like that always drew my attention and a lot of other youth's attention as something fun to do while you're up here. So there's always a lot of fun activities to do up here.
Well, one of the funniest stories that I can relate is I was the oldest of 7 kids, so when we came to camp meeting, there was a lot of stuff to bring, and we usually didn't stay in anything fancy, and I don't know how my mom put up with it, but the neighbors thought we had a maid because my mom's cousin was always helping us out. And then there was a time when my brother Kelly took Mom's potatoes. He was maybe 4 or 5 years old, and he was selling them to people on the campground so that he could have some money for go to the candy store.
This is the first year we've camped on this spot. We used to live or stay in the dorm above the lunch stand that we worked in, and that was quite an experience because we figured that if all that heating equipment and stuff down below us had ever caught on fire, we had about 30 seconds to get out.
I just would love to be on TV, and I've never been on it before. So, and my dad and I just love the shade and so many trees and stuff. And don't tell him,